Don't know if we're actually live yet. All right. All right, it is 3:15. Let me check over here to see. All right, I can hear myself on YouTube. Let me now mute that. All right. So, is there anyone out there in Chatland? A little bit of lag and such. All right, I see right now Charles Latora, Polemicus, or is it Telemachus? All right. William Aarons, there he is from Kitchener, Ontario. Excellent, excellent. So, mostly this is just to say hello to everyone. We can visit and chat a bit, talk about games. And I don't know if you saw my post on my community tab, but I mentioned we could actually play some games about games. And potential prize in the mix if people want to continue with the games, and there'll be a prize. So since currently we only see 4 people watching, one of them is me on my YouTube tab there to make sure that I could hear myself. All right. So we won't do a giveaway. Oh, there's Mrs. Meandering. she tuned in there. She has a YouTube channel herself, Papercraft by Janelle. If you have, spouses or daughters, mothers, or sons, uncles, whatever, that are into crafting, you could let them know about her channel. Silver Bayonet, says Charles. Ah, cool. Well, when I heard the word Silver Bayonet, I thought it was like, is this going to be like werewolves set in Napoleonic time? So I don't know. You can tell us, Charles, if that's got a supernatural flair in the Napoleonic times, which sounds interesting. Yeah, William, that turned out to be a very interesting battle, didn't it? I when I first time played it, I thought, man, I don't think the Aztecs can win that siege of Tenochtitlan, and I was wrong. The Spanish just lost too many dudes, and even though with enough time they probably could have crushed the remaining Aztecs, but when they got down to 6 or less units, basically, I guess you'd say their morale broke and they decided to go home or something like that. So that's the way those victory conditions work. All right, what I think I want to do now is we will play a little, not a 20 questions game, and we won't use ID Jester's term. Hey, Thomas Van Hare, Historic Wings. Good evening there, sir. He calls this thing Jester's Jeopardy, but it's not Jeopardy. It's like playing 20 questions. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a little game called 7-question countdown. So this is going to be like 20 questions where you're going to try to guess a war game. I got a war game sitting over here, and I am going to let you guys do yes or no questions. You're going to take turns, and the first part is cooperative. You're all asking questions one at a time, and once 7 questions have been asked, yes or no questions, then we'll open it up to the guessing phase where everyone can just start guessing what game they think it is. The first person that guesses it will win that. You don't win a prize in this one, but I do have the chat throttled so that you can't put in more than one entry per every 6 seconds. So once it's time to start guessing, you can put a guess in every 6 seconds, but you can't like slam 20 in every half second. All right. So since Charles was the first to speak up, Charles, you may ask a yes or no question about the game over here that I'm thinking. Now, one rule, unlike in Jester's Jeopardy when they play in the war room, don't ask any questions about like, is it in so and so's collection? Does Ruff own it or does I? Don't ask is Charles own it or I own it. Just ask yes or no questions about the game itself. Okay. All right. You ready to play, Charles? You know what we're doing? You're going to ask a yes or no question. Yes? No? We'll give Charles a minute to think of something. If he doesn't, we'll go on to the next person. If no one wants to do it, then we'll skip that whole idea and just continue to chat. Oh, there's David Brown. You there still, Charles? You hearing us? Give you 30 more seconds to come up with a yes/no question. All right. So Charles asks, is it a GMT game? So I'm going to keep track of this as question number 1, because after 7, when I say go, that's when you can all start guessing. No, it is not a GMT game. Okay, so now let me see who. Telemachus, are you still there? So it is your turn to. We'll chat about that later, Dave. Is the theme genre from the 18th century? So the 18th century is from like 1601 through 1699, or excuse me, 17. Sorry. So no, it's not in the 18th century. Am I doing that right? Is my brain right? I'm having a birthday, and I'm I'm getting older every time, and sometimes I forget. Yeah, from 1701 to 1800, right? Whether you include the 1800 year or 1799, that's an open question. But so he asks, is it in the 18th century, 1700s up to 1800? And the answer is no. This game is not 18th century. That's the second one. All right. And so once we get through everybody, we'll start looping around and have so William Aarons is up next. So Williams, a yes or no question about the game I'm thinking of. So David Brown, Adventureland. I have a huge collection of war games, board games, role-playing games, miniature games, and at certain points I just buy anything that I see out there, or if it's on sale and that. I do not remember the particulars about Adventureland, but I would hazard a guess that it's probably something that was on sale, because I think I actually got 2 of them. One with the idea to keep one and play eventually, and one to give away on the channel. So I've done that quite a few times. Sometimes I have duplicates because I don't keep good enough track of what I've bought, and I end up buying more than one. All right, William, is it a game set in the history of the USA? No, this game is not set in the history of the USA. All right, so we have 3 questions down, 4 more to go. So I believe next up with Janelle. If you're there and you want to participate, dear, you can. I assume you've probably already signed off. Goodness, we already have 10 people. Oh, by the way, if someone is here watching and they haven't chimed in yet, go ahead and put something in the chat so we can see your name and get you in the rotation if you want to, or you can sit back quietly and observe. But so I'm going to say that Janelle's probably not going to play. If she changes her mind, we can put her in the rotation later. So after Mrs. Meandering, the next one up would be Thomas, Historic Wings. If you're still there, Thomas Van Hare, Historic Wings, what is your yes or no question about this game? Yes, that is correct. Not GMT. Yes, good clarification. Is the theme genre about ancient warfare? Ancients. And the answer is no, it is not ancient genre or theme. Okay, so we've got 4 down. All right, we're coming up with question 5. Let's see here. Historic Wings. David Brown. It is now your turn. And the game has nothing to do with Adventureland. I'll give you that as a free free hint. It's not Adventureland related. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, the stream's going. Is it published in the last 10 years? That's a good question. The answer is yes. It is published within the last 10 years. And I'm going to add a little hint. It's never been reprinted, so it's only been published once. So yes. Last 10 years published, yes. That's the first positive question that we've had a yes answer on. 4 no's, 1 yes. All right, so we are now up to question number 6. And when I finish question 7, pause a minute. Don't start right away. When I say go, that's when you guys can start guessing. All right, so after David Brown, okay, I'm going to take the pause. Anyone in the chat, it says there are 14 people watching. If you want to get involved with this guessing game, hi, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. All right. So if you scroll up, you'll see a recap with a minor correction. So it was asked, is it a GMT game? The answer is no. Is it part of the 18th century? No. Is it part of set in U.S. history? No. Is it published in the last 10 years? Yes. And it is now your turn to guess, Daniel Silverthorne. You may do a yes/no question. Oh, wait, was there one other one? What was that 4th question? I can't read my own writing. Oh, ancient. It's not ancients. So it's not 18th century, not U.S. history, not ancient history, not from GMT, and it was published in the last 10 years. And now Daniel Silverthorne gets a chance to pose a question. Yes or no? All right, we're waiting for Daniel to think of a question. We'll give him another 30 seconds. He might be behind. Sometimes people are, if you come in late, you can rewind. What I usually do is I fast forward at double speed. There's a nice question. Is it published by Compass Games? The answer is no. It is not a Compass game title. All right. So this is going to be the last question, and then I will give a small hint, and then it'll be open to people guessing. First person that guesses will win. Yes, good recap there, David. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. All right, so we're back to Charles, I think, unless, in the next 15 seconds, if a new person pipes in, we'll let them take a guess. Any new person? There's 13 currently watching. We lost somebody. That's okay. I mean, I'd be happy if there was 6 or more people watching. A half dozen, that's fine. I mean, this was an impromptu thing, and we're doing word stuff. All right, so going once, going twice. Okay, not a new game. We will do at least one more, a different version of 7-question countdown. I got a different style of one, and that'll be where we'll give away a prize. Okay, so we're going to roll back to Charles. Charles, you get to ask the last question for this one. Are you still with us? You're playing. Oh, he's going the publisher route. He's trying to do the publisher route. Okay, MMP. No, it is not MMP. All right. So we've eliminated 3 different publishers: Compass, GMT, and MMP. Big dudes. So it's a smaller publisher. Not 18th century, not U.S. History, not ancient history. It was published in the last 10 years. And then I'm going to add this clue. It is something that I acquired recently. That doesn't necessarily mean it was published recently. You still have that clue. It's in the last 10 years, but I acquired it recently, and I've never covered it on my channel. Okay, so it's not been covered on my channel. That might help a little bit, some or not. Now, so in a second, I'm going to say go, and when I do, y'all can start guessing. You can do as many guesses as you want. The first guess that gets this title correct, no more asking the questions. You're just guessing. And like I said, I have the chat set to throttle for slow mode 6 seconds. So you should be able to post every 6 seconds. Oh, Mike Porticelli, glad to see you there. All right. So yeah, and Mike, you should be able to see the review of the questions asked. And the last one was it NMP? And the answer is no. All right. So go. You may start guessing away. First one that gets it can. And I'm not going to say what's yes or no until the person gets it right. So anything that you see come by the screen is 90% a wrong answer unless I just haven't read it yet. Senjutsu. I'll go ahead and read them out so you can all hear them. Senjutsu, Aizenwana, Via Janagara. Okay, so William Aarons, we're done with the questions. So now you're just in guessing mode. If you think it's a Napoleonic game, you could start guessing one. But we are guessing specific titles right at this point. Von Manstein's Triumph, Sekigahara, and I expect this is, if no one gets it, say in the next like 2 minutes, I'll add another clue. You guys went for the publisher route. I was expecting maybe to narrow down the time frame. It is not Marengo. It is not Samurai Battles. So it's not those 3 publishers, but there is still a pretty wide range of potential topics. Battle of Baton Rouge, that's not it. That will be, I'll give you that for free as a hint. It is a war game. This is a war game. And I think we're ready for a more detailed one. So we had a question about, was it in the 18th century? Well, I'm going to tell you, it is in the 19th century. Between 1801 and 1899. Outremer, Cruel Necessity, Deus Vult, alphabetic route, yeah. Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Dreaded Flags, I have not heard of that one. Yes, 19th century, but not US. That is correct. Sedan. Yes, not Robotech either. Flying Colors. Yeah, it hadn't been like narrowed down to whether it was land, sea, or air. or anything like that. So, I mean, with only 7 questions, it's just a taste. We'll give it another minute, and then we'll add another clue. Charles says his brain hurts. No, that is not the game. My brain hurts. There's that game on recovering from the brain injury from Hollandspiele. What was that one called? All right. Any other good guesses on the good old 19th century? That covers it's a pretty busy century. WDS. I'll throw in that it's okay. This is hint of it's not a computer game, but it is a Napoleonic game. So now we are drilling down. It is 18th century Napoleonic. It's not I Poland. Telemachus, is there a game just called Peninsula, or you have a specific title in mind with dealing with the Peninsula War? Eylau, Victory and Glory, Napoleon, Beyond Waterloo. Oh, that's that one from John Prados. Yeah, interesting. I don't know tons of war games. Napoleon's Last Gamble. All right. People start running down the list of Napoleonic battles. Someone will eventually get it. In a minute, we'll give you another clue. We'll tell you the publisher. The Napoleonic War, Battles of Napoleon, Wellington in the Peninsula, Napoleon invades Spain. All these great OSG titles. Commands in Color of Napoleon, Wavre. Question is, which Wavre? There's at least 3 or 4 different versions. All right, so the publisher is Marshall Enterprises, Napoleonic game. Therefore, the first part, so you don't have to type it, is La Bataille. Okay, so you don't have to put the La Bataille part. It's a La Bataille title from Marshall Enterprises, Napoleonic. You just have to put the battle name in from this point on. Oh, goodness. There are so many Waterloo games. Yes. Almost as many as there's Battle of the Bulge. Yep. La Bataille, fill in the blank. It is not La Bataille Moscow or Moskva, as they would put it there in the actual title. Yeah, it is a La Bataille de Catobra, Dresden. It's not Catobra or Dresden. Let's see. Christoph is here. Doug Sessoms is a new. Captain Nolan, great. So if you scroll up, Captain, you can see the 7 questions that were asked that were usually yes or no questions, but we've added enough clues. It is a Napoleonic game from Marshall Enterprises. Let's see here. I gotta make sure I don't miss anything. St. Jean, Alexandria, Dave Brown. He's using the good old BGG skills. 24 possibilities. You guys are narrowing it down. Austerlitz, Moskva, Talavera. De Lutzen. You almost Egmo. Bing, bing, bing. David Brown, you are the winner. You have won this round. For a non-wargamer dude, you nailed it. This is here my copy. They only print like 400 of these at a time, and mine is number 125. They actually put a little foil thing and number them. They're expensively crazy. They come in a crappy box, but man, are the counters and the maps really beautiful. All right, so that was our episode of the 7-question countdown with a lot of clues. So I want to thank everyone for playing. Now, if people are up for it, I'm going to do one more game that's similar to this 7-question countdown, but it's done from a different grade. Hey, Mini Warma, there you go. You've played a couple of Hex Encounter war games and stuff. So the prize is a non-war game. We're going to give away a copy of Pandemic Hot Zone North America, free shipping in the U.S. If you have a U.S. address you can ship to. If you win it and you're overseas and you want to pay for the shipping, you can. It's relatively light and small, but this will be the prize. Okay, Thomas, thank you for stopping by. That's great. Yeah, if it's after midnight for you, thank you for participating at all. That was nice of you to join in. Most of you folks, well, I know Christoph, he's in Belgium, so he's up there kind of late, but most of these names I recognize as being U.S. folks, but there might be some others I don't know. Like I don't know, was it David Sussum? I'm not sure where he's from. All right, so this last one that we're going to do here, instead of you guys giving me a question and I give you a yes or no answer, I am going to tell you a quantitative question about the game, and you all get to guess what you think the answer is. And then we'll look and see whoever is closest, and I'll give that person 1 point. Okay? So we're going to do 7 of these. 7-question countdown. I have 7 different questions. I'll ask. You'll give me quantitative information. So it's something that you can attach a number to. All the answers you will present will be a number. All right? And I can see whoever's closest, give that person a point. Once we've done with 7 questions, the person with the most points will get to go first. They'll be able to ask a yes or no question. And then they get a chance to guess what the game is. If they don't guess it, then they're eliminated, and we'll go to the person with the next amount of points, and we'll continue that way. So we'll do this a little round where everyone's trying to guess an answer that's close, and you can get some clues from that answer, like, well, this guy was the closest, that's between these and these. You'll get some ranges of information, and then using your deductive ability, and you'll be able to, each person that got points will be able to ask a question. And if we get to the end and no one guesses it, I'll just do a random drawing for you guys to see who gets it if they want. All right. So if you're all ready here, what I'm going to do is, so y'all, those that want to participate, just when I ask the question, I'll say, and you put in your guess, and then we'll, wait at least a minute. I'll announce that, okay, we're cutting that off, and I'll look at the answers just between that period, and then I'll award the point, and we'll go on to the next one. So if you get your questions in late, they won't count, your answers in late. So if you started this late and you're behind, put your listening speed on to double, make sure you've caught up, or just slide to now. All right, so the first of 7 is, and you're going to put in a number, okay? In this case, you're going to put in a year. When was this game first published? I'm looking for a year. We'll give it a minute. Hey, Bill Thornton, Dale Brady. Let's see, what are we up to? We're currently at 16. 1969, 2005, 1996. Nice range of guesses here. This is good. Captain Nolan, Daniel Silverthorne. Now, if you pick a thing that someone already guessed, and that happens to be the closest, we'll do a tie thing. We'll give each person a point. All right. So I'm going to give it about 15 more seconds. Five more seconds. And done. You got yours in just in time, Minion Warmut. All right. So I'm not going to tell you the exact answer. I'm just going to tell you who's closest. All right. So William Aarons, you already had 2005 up above. So we're now cut off. So the first one, let's see here. All right. So Dale Brady had the closest answer. Dale Brady, you get a point. So you can look there and see Dale Brady guessed 81. All right. So you can look at the information, those ones around 81, and now you know a rough. When was this published? All right. So that was the first. All right. So let's see. I'm doing these in a particular order because they reveal certain amount of useful or less useful information. Some of them are kind of obscure and silly, but all right. I'm typing in the start point. All right. So we're about ready to start the second question. Again, it's going to be a number. All right. No fractions, just a number. And question number 2 is, how many counters in this game? We are now in the guessing the counters. Okay, we got 200, 100, 240, 280, 400, 800, 1,000. Some people are entering monster game territory. 265. Bob. 90. Get another 30 seconds. 540. All righty here. Let's see. 99. Okay, another 15 seconds. Guessing's fine. Guessing's totally fine. Okay, so 1, 3, 2, 1. We're done with this question of how many counters. So let me check here. Who is closest? Ooh, that's close. Wow. All right. Mini Warmut, you're 265. Oops, my mechanical pencil is having a malfunction. Mini Warmut. All righty. So far, we have 1 point for Dale Brady and 1 point for Mini Warmut. All right, question 3. Is not in order. All right, so this question is going to reveal a clue about the game. Okay. And that is that, while this war game may have counters, it doesn't have hexes. And the question is, for this war game, how many playable areas or points does it have? It's either an area or a point-to-point game. It's not a hex and counter game, but it has areas or points. So go ahead and start guessing. Count of areas or points, if you know what I mean. Point-to-point games. And these are playable land areas. Okay, that's a little bit of a hint. Playable land areas or points. Instead of points or points. Areas or points. 412, 32, 49. Interesting. That would be a very small number of areas or points. But you can have some pretty small games. 69, that's a great answer. Joff White, that's a new person here. 40. All right, cool. Okay, we'll do another 45 seconds here of guessing time. Timon. Minnie Warmut likes to mention Bob. Is Bob your uncle? Brian Cox, Bob. All right, so 10 seconds left. Oh, okay, Price is Right. Got it. $1,200.59, Bob. All right. And 3, 2, 1. Stop. Area or point count. All righty. So I'm looking up here. We've got as high as 412, as low as 6. Who is closest to my magic number? Let's see. That's 3 away. Three. Okay, so the winner is Jeff White. He guessed 40. And so he is the closest person to the magic number of playable areas or points in this game. Oh, did Daniel Silverthorne had 40 as well? Did I miss that? Ooh, I see. Okay, so that's going to be a tie. You're both going to get that. I'm going to give you both that 40. All right. So we are 3 questions down, 4 to go. Hey, Jeff. All righty. So we are on the 4th question. Okay, let's see if I can read my writing here. All right. So yes, here we go. All right. How many English language publishers have published this game in any of its editions or variants? Not foreign language publishers, only English language publishers. So it's been published at least once, so it's going to be from 1 to some large number. So everyone gets to guess between 1 and some number. English language publishers of this game. Okay. Start English lang pubs. All right, and actually that everyone that had started there before I put that thing out, we'll get you Timon and down. So you do count. All right. Three, 5, 3, 7, 7, 3, 4. We might have a lot of ties here. Okay, we're gonna give it 15 more seconds. If anybody, have you figured out what we're doing, Mr. Hex to Hex, Sexy Hex? We're doing like a 20 questions, but instead of yes or no questions, I'm giving a quantitative question and they're guessing, and whoever gets the closest gets a point. And then the people with the most points are going to be able to ask a question and guess first, and the winner will win a prize. All right, so we're going to cut it off here in 3, 2, 1. Stop the pub question. No more pub crawling. All right, so again, I'm not revealing the exact answer. Just who was closest. Let's see here. Got to go all the way up to the top to make sure we include Timon on down. All right, so the answer is somewhere in the vicinity of, it looks like we have a tie for who's closest. Yes, 2 people selected 4. So Timon and Charles selected 4 as the number of English language publishers from this game. So Timon and Charles. All right. So that's 4 questions out of the 7. We only got 3 remaining. All right. So yes, David's good at math. It is indeed. All right. All right. So this 5th question is, how many nations or countries are represented in this game? Okay. How many different nations or countries are represented in this game? So far, we got 7, 3, 2, 12. We're ranging from 3 to 12. 5. 5 is popular. 10. All right, so we got 2s and 3s. We got 10s and 12s. Number of 5s, we'll give it 15 more seconds. Christoph comes in with 6. Okay, we're starting to count down. Oh, 14 for Mini Warmut. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're ending that. So, believe it or not, Mini Warmut gets it again. Bob, his choice of 14 is closest. Yeah. All righty. So that was the 5th question. 6. So we have 2 left. Just 2 questions left. All right. Wits and Wagers. No, I haven't heard that one. I like various weird question and answers. I like the things like Balderdash and Wise and Otherwise and stuff where you make up answers to obscure things. Christoph. Good old American war game trivia question game with like right now you don't know the answers. You're all in a state of limbo. You're like, hey, come on, we want to find out what's going on here. But all right, so this next to the last one is how many players was this game designed to be played by? So that's 1 for a solitaire up to a large number. How many players is the preferred player count, the designed players count? 12, 7, 6, 6, 8, 4. Mini Warmut 4. William Aarons 4. Dale Brady 8. Okay, we'll give it 20 more seconds. Charles comes in at 6. You want to chime in, Jeff, Hexy? You can, it's not too late. You could get in with 1 correct guess, and who knows? All right, counting down. 5, 6, 4, 4. Go the other way. Didn't someone pick 5, David Brown, already? He wants to know exactly what it is. Yeah, I don't think anyone's picked 5 yet. All right, and stop the player count. All right. So we ranged from 12 on the top, 4 on the bottom, No one picked 5. We did have 6 and 7 and 8. All right. So that means 4 is the closest, and we have 3 people that did 4. So we got Dave Brown, Minnie Warmut, and William Aarons. All right, so this is the last question. And this is going to be worth double points, okay? Now, as we all know, war games cover anywhere from like hours of a battle, days. You know, it might be an operation, it might be days, weeks, months, it might be a strategic game, years, decades, centuries. I mean, 100 Years' War, right? No, it's a clue. It's not the 100 Years' War, okay? But you're going to need to guess this answer in years, but it could be as low as 1 year up to an infinite number of years. So some between 1 and some large number. So the last question, which was double points, is how many years does this game cover? From its beginning to its end, how many years? And I should put start years, and we do include Timon, whose will count. All right, so far we have a range from 3 to 32. Give it another 20 seconds. Yeah, how many campaigns, how many strategic wars lasted multiple years? Because there's been nothing to narrow down when this is. You know, we have a narrow down of when it was published, and we're going to get a span here. But once we've figured out who has the most points, the questions you ask can be kind of critical because you're going to get the first stab. When you ask your yes or no questions, you know, it's your turn because you had the most points. Given what you see here, you can try to think of like, how do I want to try to narrow this down? What do I want to focus on to try to ask one question and then make your one guess? Okay, we'll give it 15 more seconds. Currently between 3 and 40 years. All right, Minnie Warmut comes in at 8. 40, 16, 5, 3, 9, 7, 32, 4, and 7. All right, and we're cutting it off now. All right, so the tabulation is that the closest is Daniel Silverthorne at 40. So, you know, it's 40 or more years long. All right, so of course, now I got to read my chicken scratch. Daniel got, was it 2 or 3 different guesses? Jeff, Timon, and Charles. David Brown, Minnie Warmut, William Aarons. Wow, can't read my writing there. That was Minnie Warmut. Yeah, I think we got 3 for Daniel Silverthorne. I almost said Silversmith. Silverthorne. All right, so Daniel, you have the most points. All right, only 2. You had the year span and the playable areas. Oh, that's David Brown there. All right, so who else had 2? Did Minnie Warmut have 3? Yeah, my writing really sucks. Timon Charles, David Minnie. So I believe Minnie Warmut had the how many players? He was the which is a tie. He was the sole person on the number of countries, and he had how many counters? Oh, that's right. The last one does count as 2 points. The last one counts as 2 points. It was a double. Very good, Charles. Yes. So Daniel Silverhorn does have 3 points, and Minnie Wormwood has 3 points. So, the way we're going to do this is okay. You're going to let Minnie Wormwood go first. That's you're giving him the kickoff, and you want to receive, or vice versa. Or all right. The tiebreaker should probably go to the final question since that was worth more. But yeah, so we're going to have, but since you're electing to let Minnie Warmut go first, so Minnie Warmut, you get to ask a yes or no question about the game. And then when I answer it, you have, a minute or two to think and or Google, look on BGG if you want to, and make your guess. If you are wrong, you are eliminated. And we will move on to Daniel Silverthorn. All right. So, Brian, what is your response to Bob Barker? What is your yes or no question about this mystery game, which you can review through the chat? People have been basically talking about the rough ranges of what the answers would be. And for example, your own guesses was it's closest to 14 nations or countries. Okay, he is asking, does it have meeples? And I'm going to find meeples specifically as wooden figures in a game that are shaped like that blobby person. Okay. And the answer is no, this game does not have meeples. Okay. Oh, really? Yeah. All right. So you now get a minute to guess. You can try to games without meeples. Oh, there's only 12,000 of those now. So it could be a wild stab in the dark, Mini Warbutt. This is your chance to pull something out of your Mini Warbutt. Yeah. Here, let me take a pen to that and scratch out that address. Yeah, I use an envelope with a bill as my writing surface. So you're gonna guess, Mini Warbutt? Take a wild stab in the dark. Some war game that doesn't have hexes. It's got areas that are point to point. It's got a lot of nations or countries represented. It's a multiplayer game. At 4, it's been published 4 times by English language publishers. It has, a long history, near 40 years, or potentially much, much more. I mean, the could be about like 38 to 40, or it could be 400 or 10,000 or something. So, all right, you got 10 seconds to come up with a guess. For Mini Warmutt. Mini Warmutt's guessing. Clueless. No, it is not the game called Clueless. Right. All right. So we're moving on to Daniel Silverthorne. So he did get some information out of the question that Minnie Wormut asked. It does not have meeples. So what will your question be, Mr. Silverthorne? Yeah, I'm not revealing anything on Facebook or anywhere. At least you don't know. Does it span more than 100 years? And the answer is yes. Mini Wormut's playing with his building his terrain. If you guys are into miniatures at all, you got to go look at Mini Wormut's channel. He builds some amazing terrain from scratch. So yes, Daniel Silverthorne, the game does span more than 100 years. So we'll give you a minute to consider your guess. Civilization, that is an excellent guess. However, that is not correct. So it is not civilization. All right, so folks, help me out here. Is it Dale Brady or David Brown that are next? I think they each have 2 points. Maybe Charles also has 2 points. Does Timon have 2 points, or does he have 1? Yeah, I should have wrote this better. I should have had a tally on the side. Joff has 1. Timon has 1 there. There's David Brown. William Aarons. Does William Aarons have 2 also? Charles believes he has just 1. So there was Mini Wormut. He was the only one there. Dale Brady is there. Mini Wormut was the only one there, so I can eliminate those. Daniel is doing this now. All right. And he answered his question. He's got it wrong, but it was a darn good guess. All right. What does that say? That's David Brown. Okay, William was part of the 3-way tie. Charles was there. Joff was 1. So David Brown, you have 2, right? On the playable areas guess, you tied there. And on the players, they had a 3-way tie. Mr. Tally Matt, tie my banana. Yeah, exactly. All right, so 2 for David Brown, 1 for Charles, 1 for her. All right, Dale Brady, did you get 2? You got 1 for the very first question, the year published. That's Charles. That was Minnie Wormut and William Aarons. No, I think David Brown, didn't you get a 3-way tie for the four-ish players? And oh no, that's Daniel Silverthorne. He tied there for that one. Right, that's Daniel. All right. So we're all down to 1s then, is that right? Yeah, Captain Nolan has 0. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do those people that all have 1 are going to do them in the order of the questions. So I'm going to do Dale Brady first. And the thing is, like, there's less information right now, so you have a less chance of guessing. But if you guess it, you get it. But people asking questions will give more information for later. So in some ways, it's good to go first if you think you know it. But if you don't, it's good to wait. But We're gonna call upon Dale Brady to ask your one yes or no question. Give you another 30 seconds to make your stab in the random universe of game stuff. Okay, so we're asking yes or no questions, and you're asking, is it an ancient game? All right. So I'm going to say yes, part of the span of the game is in the ancient era. So that is a yes to this game has gameplay in the ancient era. So, how much does that inform your guess? How good are you at your BGG Kung Fu? Google Fu, as they say. Give you another 30 seconds. Oh, you can picture in his head. Take a stab. Go for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's over. All right. No, it's not Spurry, which I'm sure you meant sorry. It's not the game Sorry from Parker Brothers. All right. So, but valuable information has been revealed. All right. So it is covers part of the ancient era, and it is more than 100 years long. So I'm going to go to the next one on the list. We've already handled this one. Mini warm-up did a chance. Let's see, 2, 3. So next up is Joff. Jeff Winters. Jeff Winters, was that it? Spelled Geoff. Are you still there, Jeff? It's been a while. You might have decided to leave. There's still 15 of you hanging out. I'm just surprised. Yeah, this has taken longer than I thought it would, but it's kind of interesting, the the variant of the 20 questions or whatnot, the 7-question countdown with all sorts of weird variants. But all right, we'll give you a minute to pipe up, Jeff. If you're there, you're asking a yes or no question about this game. Yeah, Jeff was there so long ago. Well, Captain Nolan, if we get to the point where all the people that had points left, we'll go to the people that don't have any points and let them guess. So we're going to give this game away to someone who is willing to give it a new home. All right, so 10 more seconds. Jeff Winter, are you there? Ask a question. If not, we're going to move on. 5, 4, 3, 3.5, 2, 1.5, 1.5. All right, so we're moving on from there. La, 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 la. So I think we have a tie here next because both Timon and Charles were on this question having to do with the number of publishers, English language publishers. So if Charles and Timon are both still here, pipe into the chat, and then we'll figure out how to tie break or not. If one of you are not here, well, then we skip that person and do the other. So Timon and Charles. Okay, Timon's here. Charles is here. All right. So how shall we do this? You both will do it. I'll flip a coin to see who will go first. Well, Charles was the first in the chat today. So, Charles, you will get to go first if you want to, or you can have Timon go first. Your choice, Charles, whether you want to guess now or let Timon guess first. You gonna go first, Charles? You got a question, a yes or no question? Question. He's going for it. All right. His question is it the Greeks versus the Persians? No, it is not the Greeks versus the Persians. So that was Charles' question. He now has his guess, and then if he fails, then Timon will get a turn. So it is part of the ancient era. It's part of the history of this game, but it's not Greeks versus Persians. You got a stab in the dark guess, Charles. Give you 30 more seconds. Okay, Charles, you got 5 seconds. We're counting down. We have a winner. Charles, it is indeed Britannia, which is 1,023 1,023 years of history. From 43 AD, which is in the ancient period, and wherever you stop it and start getting into the early Middle Ages and whatnot, goes to 1066, 43 AD to 1066. 4 English language publishers: Gibson's, Avalon Hill, Final Flight Games, and Plastic Soldier Company. Well, if your spelling was close enough, we would allow it. So it's designed for 4 players, but there are 17 different nation states. Each player controls 4 throughout history. One of them controls 5. It is 17 areas on the map. 256 counters. First published in 1986 by Gibson's, 1987 by Avalon Hill. So there we go. Now that was a bit of a challenge, but you guys figured out. That was a little bit of cooperative sleuthing between y'all, and between the questions, you narrowed it down, and bingo for Charles. So, all right. So that definitely took longer than I thought it was, but that was fun for the most part. Some of it I was probably like, I don't know what's going on here, you guys. Definitely a weird, different variant. So at this point, if anyone has anything they want to talk about, ask, share about, what they did this Thanksgiving. Did they, just eat a bunch of pie, or did they play some games? What are you working on right now? It's 37 areas. It's 17 nation states or countries. It was 37 areas. I may have misspoke there. I'm going to mix those two up. Yeah, it's 37 areas on the map. Doubled. Oh man, yeah. I actually did bad the day before Thanksgiving. I ate a whole pint of gelato all by myself. That was really dumb. So I did a little better on Thanksgiving itself. I limited myself some. Yeah. Oh, strawberry cheesecake gelato. I just couldn't stop. Bad choices. Yeah. Dumb things we do to ourselves. Right. Oh yeah, Charles, you're always working on stuff. You got so many minis games going and X and counter stuff. Oh no, stomach flu. No fun. Still getting over it. Well, William Aarons, I have definitely this past year played a lot of the games from the Historical Game Company. I did my series of 5 related games in the American Revolutionary War in the West series as part of my 10 games for the War Room. I also played the Wagram and I played the Siege of Tenochtitlan. So those are definitely shorter, faster. I did play what is that called? The Point Rangers at Point du Hoc, which is quite a big game. I mean, it's push your luck game based off his in Magnificent Styles, but it's much more complex. It takes much more time, a lot more things going on. So that took way more time than I thought it was going to. Next year, I think half or more of my games for the War Room, I think I'm going to base them off of the Hex Encounter memories that I've been doing. So the ones that I've done 3 Hex Encounter memories so far, I think, and I'll put those on the list. And I've got other Hex Encounter memories planned. I probably won't do them all. Like the one on the Battle of Nations, that one I probably won't play. But 1776 and Battle for Germany and Panzer 44. Yeah, I think I'll give them a play and figure out what else is coming up. I do want to do one game that'll sort of be like an ode to Mark Ruggiero. He really, really loved his Axis Empires, Ultimate Edition and that. And so I'm going to give that a try. I've never played any of the Krieg, Totaler Krieg, Axis Empires, but they've got some shorter scenarios in that. So I'm going to give that a try and just sort of like ode to Mark Ruggiero. Oh yeah, Battle for Germany. That was a lot of fun. The SPI game. I actually have it right here in a Aegis counter tray. I don't know if you guys have seen these. So it's a tray with the lid. Easily can store 200 or more counters. It'd be kind of tight for a 400 counter game, but most of those SPI were 100 counters. Later they were 200 a lot, and it can store those no problem. No more lists for Charles. Yeah, sometimes the whole doing the list thing on the War Room, it can be kind of stressful, anxiety producing. No, I have played on Vassal. I played, what was it called? The Seventh Age, and I did not like. I think it depends on the module how they implement it, but this one had way too many windows and sub windows, and things would get lost on my desktop. And I was playing on a laptop at the time, and I really like the actual hex encounter maps, the cardboard, pushing that around. So yeah, some days I'll play Vassal. I like Vassal more than I like Tabletop Simulator. I'll tell you, Tabletop Simulator, I mean, you zoom in and out. It's like I can't read it unless I zoom in, but then I can't see enough and I have to zoom out. And the camera, I can't play. I was part of David Thompson's and Liz's Night Witches playtest, their beta, and I couldn't play it because they were using Tabletop Simulator, so I just had to pass and bow out. That was a shame. Well, definitely there are, Captain Nolan. There's places where people coordinate that. I'm sure there's a number of Facebook groups where you could either ping people, in the topic you're interested in. Like if you're in Napoleonics, there's like the Cardboard Curioseurs group or whatnot, or the general board war gamers group. You could ping someone saying, "Hey, looking for Vassal opponents," and you should be able to find them. So let's see. David Brown asks, do I have a favorite print and play? Okay, so my experience with print and play is I'm not a super crafty person. I would like to have the tools to do it easily. I would like to be able to publish my own, amateur war games, but I'm not super crafty. And when I played last year, the North Africa campaign, Rommel, not the full SPI one, but the one from Lauren Sperry. I decided I didn't want to punch out those counters. I wanted to like have a copy, so I made my own, and that was a nightmare. I have a video on my channel about my print and play misadventures. Meeples make great cheese. Yes, crafting counters. Printing a map, that's not too hard. But I'll tell you, I've got a lot of blank counters, especially old SPI ones and stuff. So if there's a game that I have to, I can make up some replacement counters or something like that. But most modern counters are bigger. They're 9/16 or 5/8 and a half inch. So you had actually enjoyed, Jeff, hex to hex, the print and play process? 6mm armor for Charles. So David Brown, are you talking about like roll and writes, sheet games? Painful, but it was fun when you got it done. Yeah, I suppose if you get through it and you didn't get driven crazy and they're not falling apart, then yeah, you sort of can pat yourself on the back and enjoy playing the game and say, I did that. But my counter started separating. They didn't get glued on well enough and blah, 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 blah. My favorite war game, so it is Britannia. It's sort of tied between Battle for Germany and Britannia, but really it's Britannia. Yeah, my old school favorites from many years ago. I like to play Britannia solo, where I play all the sides, and there's a big difference playing Britannia with 4 knowledgeable players, where there will be the potential for a lot of negotiation and doing some things that are not super historical. I mean, the victory points reward you for doing things historical, but sometimes you can come up with a creative negotiation and do something that'll actually benefit you more doing something ahistorical. But when I play solo, I look at each nation as I play it, and I says, what would I do if I was actually them? And so I would not do well if I like went into a Britannia tournament. So even though I've played Britannia dozens of times, full games of Britannia, I would do relatively poorly in a tournament. Let's see, I'm looking back in the chat, see if I missed anything. If I did miss anything, if you're waiting for an answer to a question, feel free to repeat the question. William Aarons, no, I do not have a number of close players. I have played some games against my wife and my stepdaughter, but that's very rare. They both beat me playing Paolo Mori's Blitzkrieg. I did eventually beat them, but they beat me more often than not. They seem to have a intuitive grasp of the game. So despite all my wargaming experience playing Paolo Mori's Blitzkrieg, they beat me more often than not. Which is a fun game. If you wargamer types want to introduce it's more of a war themed strategy game, and it does take about 20 minutes. If you're teaching someone how, and if someone likes to think a lot, it'll take more than 20 minutes. But 20 to 40 minute range for Paolo Mori's Blitzkrieg, and that's a lot of fun. Hey, Briner Smith. All right, so so I actually have on my channel one of the Hex Encounter memories, the very first, what I would call a war game that I bought for myself was Panzer 44 from SPI. And it took me like 3 or 4 readings through the rules. I was like 12 or 13 years old, 7th or 8th grade, I don't remember exactly. I think 7th grade, and near the end of 7th grade. And wow, this, I had played like Milton Bradley's Chopper Strike and Tank Command, which, aren't war games. Those are, family type board games. But Yeah, some people, Captain Nolan, they think it's a little cartoony. But again, for non-war gamers, you want to get exposed to stuff, that might be the better thing. It's not too gritty, you know. Um, but it is, yeah, it is more of a strategy game. It's a lot of fun. It's quite interesting, the different possibilities and choices. Yeah, Panzer. I never actually played Mech War. Um, I did. So Panzer 44, I played that. I made a map for it, a supplemental map that I drew by hand. And October War had come out, and so I created a game that was sort of like Panzer 44 in the desert, leveraging some of the things from October War, but not a lot. And I gave that to a friend as a birthday gift, and he threw it away. So, like I said, I'm not super artistic, and my handwriting sucks. And he's one of those very fastidious persons who knows calligraphy and all this stuff. And so he just like threw it away. I should cover that as a hex encounter memory. How my friend threw away my present for her. I don't. Yeah, it's like I never made a copy of it or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. He could have. We were like, at that time we were like freshmen or sophomores in high school, and we don't always think straight when you're that young. You don't always do the right thing and all that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, I am definitely a user, David Brown, on BGG. Um, I am Mike Anthony, all run together, Mike Anthony. And you can see my ridiculously large collection there. I mean, that's with the capital R and an L, ridiculously large. I'm probably like, the top 50 in the entire world of the size of board game collections, board game, war game collections. Yeah, some people didn't like that Panzer Battles. Some people did. Some people felt that it was missing something that just wasn't quite as good as the Mech War and the Panzer 44. I never tried Panzer Battles. Yeah, that includes, I think that includes expansions, David. That includes every single magazine game I have, every single, like, kids card game that I have and stuff that, I was going through this phase where I was trying to do comparative game analysis and I was just buying any and every game I could buy for cheap. So that's why, you asked about, well, how did you get Adventureland? And I'm pretty sure that was like a sale thing. Um, and it's like, yeah, I'd like to play it at some point, but most of my plays on the channel are war games. I've done some non-war games, and I want to keep doing some, but most of the viewers want the war games. There's a chunk of people that like the mini stuff, and some like the other board games, but no, it's Mike Anthony run together. So when I first created my channel, my name was Mike Anthony, and you couldn't find my channel because there was like dozens of pages of Mike Anthony. If you search for Mike Anthony and put the channel filter on, I'd be like on page 12. And even though I had more videos and more views than a number of these, for some reason it would throw me on page 12. So I changed my channel name to Meandering Mike. And so I've been that on YouTube ever since, but my Board Game Geek account is Mike Anthony, all run together. And I'm now tracking games on not BGG, but VGG. They have Video Game Geek. And I just started buying old Nintendo 8-bit and 16-bit games, sort of a nostalgia thing, going back and some of the games that I used to like in the late 80s, early 90s. I got married in the early 90s, and I would often, buy games for the kids and watch them play, and occasionally I'd play them, and some of them became favorites. So I'm in that nostalgia kick right now. So my man cave has many collections between books and war games, board games, video games, so much crud, excuse my French, but crap, that's what I was going to say. And Mrs. Meandering had told me that you only have one man cave. It has to all fit in there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Panzer Group Bulgarian and the World War One from the SPI strategy and tactics early stuff. I'll probably do some Hex Encounter memories about those also at some point. That World War One game was kind of mind-blowingly opening to me about the just ruthless view of throwing away lives, men, and material in World War One, just reducing things to a combat resource point and fighting and over. Just we're just trying to grind them down, and you're yeah. Oh boy, I was like, wow, this is terrible. It's a terrible calculus of sacrificing men. Well, folks, any other last questions, comments, concerns? I am going to be asking for feedback on the channel coming up in December. Some things to focus on more, some things to focus on less. And one of the things that I want to talk about is my memory. A lot of times I say, things like, oh, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to cover this on my channel. A lot of times I forget, right? And what is the meaning of life? Yeah, exactly. What is the meaning of life? Attacking at 2-1 and succeeding despite the negative odd shifts. No, I don't know. But yeah, so there's stuff that I've talked about potentially covering on the channel, and some of you are waiting for that and some are not. Game conventions. No budget right now for travel plans. Hey, Jeffy, thanks for participating and being there. Yeah. Good to get out and do the war game community thing and chat and make sure that not everyone had Thanksgiving folks to hang out with. So I figured, hey, we can just goof off here and do silly games about games and chit chat and stuff. So I'd like to go to conventions at some point, but I don't know. Next 4 years, probably not. Just too many unknowns out there. But we'll see. A lot of people are perfectly, you should go to San Diego HistCon, or, we'll see. If some year my channel ever monetizes, then I could, save money to pay for a trip. But I have bought all the Mike Lambo games. I have not played any of them yet. I tend to do that. I tend to see something that's in a series, and then I gotta buy them all. That's part of my, acquisitive disorder, my collections. Yeah. So yeah, I have all the Mike Lambo games. I've played none of them yet. But yeah, I'd like to do some roll and write this coming year. I've got a number of them that I'm interested in trying, like, Role Player or Cartographers or something, or Roman Roll or Hadrian's Wall or something. Or something as simple as a Mike Lambo game, or I got to get some Thomas Van Hare play in there. He's not on anymore right now. Well, Mini Warman, I know you love to get, like, I got to get all the Zombicide stuff. I see how much Zombicide you get. I bet you have all those separate packs, all those little, special characters that they issue and all that things. Cedar Mountain. So I have not played a lot of U.S. Civil War. I played Road to Richmond a little bit once, and I used to like the old Parker Brothers 1863 Civil War board game with the plastic pieces of the gunboats and the triangular cavalry and that. And that was actually kind of fun. And that was actually close to wargamey-ish than there's that American Heritage, Abomination, where you would line them up and you jump over them. That was just too weird and non-wargamey, but that Parker Brothers one I liked. But yeah, Great Battles. Yeah. because I'm so old, I'd probably want to start like, well, let's start at the beginning of it all. Let's go the old SPI, terrible Sith sword, and start there, which would be stupid, right? But I could see doing the magazine games. Well, terrible Sith sword has gone through so many incarnations. They've added like the chit pool command activation and the morale stuff. The very original thing didn't have proper, morale stuff, and so some of the behaviors that you do with some of the units would just be crazy, where you just take super mass casualties and the Iron Brigade or whatnot. But I've watched a lot of people play games. My friends in college, they played a ton of games, so a lot of monster games that I saw on their walls and that they would play. And yeah, I'm contemplating playing some War in Europe as part of my next year's. But I'll play like the Poland scenario. I'm going to play War in Europe, Poland. It's a four turn scenario, which if you do it right, you can win in 3 turns. That's probably what I'll do. That'll be a hex encounter memory that I'll do, and then Fire in the East. Yeah. Put things up on the wall. We used kneaded rubber eraser, the gray stuff. If you were careful, it wouldn't peel the surfaces off of the counters. Yeah. Well, folks, it's been over an hour and a half, and I didn't have an end time in mind, but I certainly didn't imagine we'd go this long, but it's great. Oh, I have some of those Orasec magnet things, and I've never tried them. Some people say you got to be really careful, they're sort of shred the edges of your counters, but I'd like to try that for a small game where I can put it up on a metallic, whiteboard, and like maybe put those in the hallway of my man cave going up the stairs, and have some whiteboards there with some different, S&T games on them, the little 17 by 22s with 100 counters, and have a number of those going. Well, William, man, some of those games are just fun, right? If you're into like a fun game, like Milton Bradley's Tank Command and Chopper Strike, those are fun. They're not great as simulations at all. They're not a real war game, but sometimes you just want to have fun. That's why I like that Paolo Mori's Blitzkrieg. It's got enough interesting decisions. There's a little bit of luck in what you're drawing out of your bag, but it's a bag building game where you can research advanced tech for your units and put those in your bag, and so you hope you start drawing these improved tanks or bombers or things like that. David Brown, 95% of my BGG use is tracking my collection. 4% is researching games to buy, either finding them to buy or finding enough information about, do I want to buy them somewhere else if they're not available at a good price, and 1% is reading reviews or commenting on reviews. I almost never do that. It's mostly because if I don't keep track of my collection, then I will buy too many games too many times. Oh, yeah, William Rounds. I'll see you tomorrow. That is Saturday morning. Christopher Prest should be online tomorrow. Have a good one, William. Guilds? No, I don't do anything with guilds on any social media. Thank you, Timon. Thank you. All right, so remind me who won. Charles. Okay, I have Charles' address somewhere. I can get that to him. Yes, your interesting translations. That's very amazing service that you provide. That adds a lot of interesting information to the channel. Thanks, David, for participating. Glad you could attend. Everyone who was able to pretend for any amount of time, you may be gone. You may still be listening. You may have come and go. I mean, a lot of times when I listen to live stream, I'll come and go. I'll start listening, and I'll pop on Age of Empires 2 or Age of Mythology Retold or something, play in the background, and just pop in for a chat a little bit. Thanks for being here, Mini Warmut. Thanks for participating. You had some good guesses on some of those there. Yeah, thanks, Brian, for coming in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it off now. I'll type in here, ciao, y'all. Will I do an Ardennes game for December? Maybe. Maybe. I'm not going to commit to anything for the rest of the year. For December, I'm not going to commit to anything. I'll get in what I get in, and we'll see. All right. So, yeah. Ciao, y'all. And then I have to figure out how to turn this sucker off. Oh, big button that says end stream. All right. Cleaning out the dishes. Oh, yeah, that's fun. Dishes. Yeah. Battles for the Ardennes. Oh, that you're talking about the quad game there, Captain Nolan? I have that. I could see maybe trying to play a scenario of that. Or some small thing. I don't know. Well, I'm going to cut it off now. Thank you all for participating and joining and all that good stuff. So, ciao. And remember, take care of your games, and they'll take care of you. Bye.